La 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 la. What a lovely day for a walk in the woods. La 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 la. Absolutely nothing to worry about. Hey, snake. Snake! Oh, 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 oh.
Hello. You just watched our friend Hyunbin run away from a snake. Although the snake seemed harmless, he got quite scared.
Was Hyunbin overreacting or being irrational? And why was he so scared? According to the scientific field of evolutionary psychology, Hyunbin was actually doing what millions of years of natural selection tells us to do when we face potential danger.
First of all, what even is fear?
Fear is a threat-based emotion. It helps motivate avoidance or confrontation of danger. When we feel fear, physical changes happen in our bodies. Our epinephrine spikes, breathing quickens, and glucose begins to flood our muscles.
Behaviorally, there are many different reactions when we feel fear. Some people might freeze, flee, fight, or even faint. Cognitively, outside thoughts fade away. Our main focus becomes the danger at hand.
Hyunbin, for example, chose the classic option to flee. He decided to run away from the potential threat to avoid the threat completely.
However, here's the interesting part. While Hyunbin is afraid of snakes, he isn't afraid of things like cars, electrical outlets, or swimming pools, modern dangers which cause far more deaths per year than snakes.
Did you know that more people die annually taking selfies than from shark attacks?
Wow. The point is that our fears don't correlate with what is most dangerous today. They show what was dangerous to our ancestors. Many common fears involve dangers which we almost never encounter. Meanwhile, fear of dangerous activities like driving or lighting fireworks are not as common, showing an evolutionary mismatch.
This is called the adaptive conservation hypothesis. We are biologically predetermined to have certain bias towards certain fears. Specifically, fears of things that threatened our ancestors, like snakes, heights, large animals, disease, and strangers.
These fears are acquired quickly, often from a single bad experience, or even just from watching someone else react fearfully. Meanwhile, it's genuinely difficult to condition somebody to fear irrelevant stimuli, such as a flower.
Ancestral threats are essentially preloaded into our threat detection system. However, we do not become afraid of modern dangers as quickly as ancestral ones, since evolution hasn't had time to catch up.
La 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 la.
Let's revisit the moment when Hyunbin saw the snake. In this situation, he didn't know if it was venomous or not, which gives him two options.
La 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 la.
Outcome A. Hyunbin runs away. It turns out that the snake was actually harmless. It's the non-venomous king snake. In this situation, the only thing Hyunbin lost was some dignity. The cost? Low.
La 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 la. Oh, hey buddy. What a cute little fella.
Outcome B. Hyunbin stays. This time, it's a coral snake. Although it looks like a king snake, it is actually highly venomous. This time, the cost is potentially fatal.
I'm fine. I'm hurt real bit.
This brings us to the error management theory.
When we face a potential threat, we're essentially making a judgment call under uncertainty. We either decide to respond to that fear and flee or ignore it. Responding or not results in one of four outcomes.
The first outcome is known as a hit. This is when you react to your fear and the threat is genuinely dangerous. You chose correctly and stayed safe. The second outcome is a false alarm, where we react, but the potential threat is not actually dangerous. That's what Hyunbin did in the encounter with the harmless king snake. Next, a correct rejection. That is when you decide that a potential threat is not actually dangerous and reject your fear response, and are correct in that judgment. Finally, the fate of Hyunbin number 2, a miss. This is when we incorrectly decide that a potential threat is not dangerous, even though it actually is.
According to evolutionary psychology, which error is more costly?
False alarm, like Hyunbin running away from the harmless king snake, costs a bit of energy and causes some embarrassment.
However, a miss, like when Hyunbin calmly approached the incredibly venomous coral snake thinking he was harmless, cost Hyunbin his life.
These two errors are non-symmetrical, as the miss is much more costly than the false alarm. And after all, natural selection is pretty good at math.
Over time, our ancestors who consistently erred on the side of caution were the ones who survived long enough to pass on their genes. They avoided deadly misses more often, even if it led to certain costs through false alarms.
This is known as the smoke detector principle. A smoke detector goes off occasionally when you burn toast, which might be annoying. However, you don't get rid of it because the cost of a false alarm is relatively minor and the cost of missing a real fire is huge.
And the truth is, our fear system works the same way. We tend to overdetect threats to avoid danger rather than accurately diagnose the danger before reacting. It seems that accuracy was simply too costly to evolve.
So, when Hyunbin ran from that snake, it reflected the psychological fear system designed to keep him alive by assuming the worst just in case.
So I'm not a coward?
Nope. It seems like you're actually the product of millions of years of successful survival.
You flatter me.
Fear is critical to our survival, and the fact that humans are thriving is a testament to that cognitive development.
However, fear doesn't always match the modern world. Sometimes it means running from a harmless snake.
At least I didn't end up like that guy.
And that's evolutionary psychology.